Hi, VencoreWeather.com, meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, November 21st. A lot going on in the world of weather. An Arctic blast over the weekend is still in control here in the Mid-Atlantic region. It stays way below normal today and tomorrow as well. Strong winds continuing today, will continue into tonight, and will still be noticeable on Tuesday as well. Quite an impressive frontal passage on Saturday afternoon and evening. Saturday afternoon, temperatures hit 70 degrees or even higher in parts of the I-95 corridor between D.C. and Philadelphia up to New York City. By Saturday evening, late evening, 9 or 10 o'clock or so, it was down in the low 30s in many areas. Ice pellets were falling in many areas, and even some snow reported throughout the I-95 corridor, especially suburban locations to the north and west of the big cities. A dramatic change late Saturday night, and I think we'll look back on that frontal passage as kind of a turning event, a changing event, a pattern changing event from generally above normal beforehand to generally below normal afterwards. And again, we kind of anticipated that somewhere in the mid to late November time frame there will be a pattern change to colder for the Mid-Atlantic region, and I think it really began with that Arctic frontal blast that arrived Saturday evening. This is a surface map from yesterday. Just wanted to show this. It's quite amazing what's going on across the North Pole. We've posted about the incredible cold over in Asia, Siberia in particular. This is a surface map from yesterday that has just a tremendous high pressure system with extremely cold air. It's normally very cold, of course, this time of the year in places like Siberia. But this is way below normal, some 50 degrees below normal. Just an unbelievable high pressure system right here. Listed here at 1071 millibars, which is way above 31 inches. Notice this weather station right here. Wanted to just point that out. It's got a surface air temperature of minus 39 degrees, and that's Celsius. And it's actually reporting a surface pressure of 1083 millibars. Just an incredible cold air mass on the other side of the pole over places like Mongolia, Siberia, anchored by some tremendous high pressure. First, you get the snowpack to build up in that part of the world, as it did in October and going into all of this month here. Snow just continues to pile up, not only over in Siberia, but really throughout the northern hemisphere as a whole. We're about the second highest since way back in the 70s for this time of the year in terms of snow cover throughout the northern hemisphere. So you get that snowpack to build up, you get a deeper and deeper cold air mass. Cold air is dense, and the result is some tremendous high pressure that anchors that cold air. And again, when that develops early in the season, it sends off some signals here in the eastern part of the U.S. that indeed there could be some cold air outbreaks of significance in the eastern U.S. Certainly, Siberia is an important cold air source for us in the winter season, as is northern Canada and Greenland. And this is quite amazing what's been going on the other side of the North Pole. Well, let's take a look at the latest radar loop of the northeastern U.S. And we talked about the Arctic blast that arrived here in the I-95 corridor Saturday evening. It was quite noticeable indeed, with 40-plus mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that strong wind continued on Sunday and today as well, really right into tomorrow. The Great Lakes snow machine is turned on. A perfect setup here. Early in the season, you often get these kind of setups where the water of the Great Lakes is still relatively warm. And if you get an Arctic blast, you have that differential in the air temperature and the water temperature helping to destabilize the lower atmosphere. And the result, snow bands piling up the snow just downstream. Some tremendous snow bands right now in interior New York State, running from the northwest to the southeast. Again, very cold Arctic air flowing over not only relatively warm but abnormally warm waters of the Great Lakes. Are in some cases at record high temperatures right now. So that combination is indeed contributing greatly to a very impressive Great Lakes snow event. Here's some snow all the way into northeastern PA. On Sunday we had some snow bands that reach all the way to the coast, and certainly can be a few flurries today in the immediate I-95 corridor. But upstream, just to the south and east of these Great Lakes. Some incredible accumulation amounts I think will be reported by the time tomorrow morning rolls around. Well, before we get to some forecast maps from last night's 0Z GFS model run for the next few days, let's look at the Arctic Oscillation. We've talked about how the Arctic Oscillation and the North Atlantic Oscillation are indices that we track to kind of help determine whether or not blocking can set up in the higher latitudes up across Canada and Greenland. During the winter season, when the AO and NAO go negative, that sends off red flags that indeed there could be cold air outbreaks into the eastern U.S. And here we stand right now, and the forecast shown in red here, negative in terms of the Arctic Oscillation over the next couple of weeks. And indeed this is indicating, suggesting that we have more frequent cold air outbreaks into the eastern U.S. Certainly compared to the last couple of weeks, we'll have more frequent cold air outbreaks over the next couple of weeks. And indeed, I think there'll be at least a couple of chances for snow here in the I-95 corridor at the end of November into the early part of December. Well, let's take a look at some forecast maps from last night's 0Z GFS model run. These are all available at tropicaltidbits.com, courtesy of NOAA, the model data. This is for tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. Continuation of tight pressure gradient here in the northeastern U.S. In other words, we'll continue to have some strong winds, at least in the early part of Tuesday, but pretty much all day. It'll remain windy out of the northwest, well below normal for this time of the year. Arctic air in complete control here for the next 48 hours in the northeastern part of the country. Relaxes a bit out across the Ohio Valley and upper Great Lakes region, where the winds will be light, high pressure sitting on top of those regions, but again, quite windy and cold conditions continue here, not only today, but tomorrow as well. Now, here's the forecast map for Wednesday morning. Of course, Wednesday is a busy travel day on the roads for Thanksgiving, and perhaps the most heavily traveled day of the entire year. High pressure remains in control here. The winds are much lighter on Wednesday compared to what they'll be today and tomorrow. Pretty good start to the day here. Clouds will tend to increase later in the day as this frontal system approaches, but for the most part, a dry day on Wednesday and much calmer in terms of the winds. A bit milder, but still below normal for this time of the year. Certainly not a big warm-up. A tad milder on Wednesday compared to Monday and Tuesday. High temperatures in and around the 50-degree mark in many areas of the I-95 corridor, maybe the low 50s across the D.C. metro region. Now here's the forecast map for Thursday morning, Thanksgiving Day. Frontal system will be sweeping through the mid-Atlantic region. High pressure up to the north and west will drag this front through the area. Some shower activity. Could even be cold enough in northeastern PA, interior northwestern New Jersey for some snow or ice pellets at the start. But for the most part, rain showers on Thursday. Not a heavy rain event, more of a nuisance rain event here. It will not necessarily rain all day, but shower threat exists much of the day. Be breezy, and on the chilly side, again, near 50 degrees in many areas for high temperature, a little bit below normal for this time of the year as this front pushes through. Now up to the north and east, again from northeastern Pennsylvania into interior New York, it'll be cold enough, at least at the onset, for some ice pellets or some snow on Turkey Day. And here's the forecast map for Friday, Black Friday, a big shopping day. That frontal system moves on out. Partly sunny skies, pretty light in terms of the wind flow here. Not a major frontal patch by any means will occur on Thursday, but still on the chilly side. Again, high temperatures in and around 50 degrees up and down the I-90 corridor. Another frontal system working its way could have an impact here early in the upcoming weekend. But again, decent weather for Friday after some showers on Thursday. Well, one final map to close out with. This is a 5-day average of the 500 millibar height anomalies for the end of November to the early part of December. A 5-day average period for the 500 millibar geopotential heights from November 28th to December 3rd. And some subtle changes here, actually some significant changes here by this time. And it's what we've been talking about for the last several days. Notice all the oranges up here across Canada and into Greenland. This is higher pressure than normal, and this is pretty much indicating a blocking pattern indeed will set up by the time December 1st rolls around. It tends to retrograde to the west here during the latter part of November. You get high pressure setting up here over northern Canada and Greenland. At the same time, you get lower pressure here setting up across the U.S. and basically this is really looking like not only a cold pattern for much of the U.S., but perhaps a snowy pattern. We'll indeed have a couple of chances for snow at the end of November into the early part of December here in the eastern U.S. That's pretty much what you would expect if the Arctic oscillation stays negative for a sustained period of time. You get this blocking to set up. If the North Atlantic oscillation stays negative for a period of time, you get troughiness to set up across the U.S. and it looks like that combination could unfold here come the latter part of November, the early part of December. So definitely the frontal passage over the weekend, kind of the beginning of a pattern change to colder. We'll have some snow chances, it looks like at the latter part of November into December here in the eastern U.S. That's it for now. For VencoreWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.